So let us know where we could get your book and where we could contact you.
Well, Chocolatey Brown is available on chocolatybrown.com as well as amazon.com.
Okay.
And you can reach me at Empowered Stilettos on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, cool. Thank you for coming down.
Oh, you're welcome.
Catch you next time.
Thank you.
All right.
Ladies, come.
That was so good, Stephanie.
It was really good. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys liked it. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Yeah.
So do you guys think like I really hit all the points concerning colorism?
For sure.
Okay, good.
I would say what stuck out to me the most was when you talked about the young girls in your classroom and how they thought that they had to be light skinned and with long straight hair in order to be beautiful. That's crazy at such a tender age. Like that blew me away.
Such an impressionable age. It's crazy. Sad.
They start thinking about
because it surprised me a little bit when they told me, but then I thought about it, and I really considered what they're seeing in the media and what they're being exposed to, and a lot of times it's light-skinned women.
The media is
deadly in the newspaper, the magazines, so that's all they're seeing. They're not really represented. So I wanted to make sure I really represented all shades of brown to let them know that no matter their shade, they're beautiful. You know what I mean?
For sure. That's
the
true.
media can brainwash you.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
Yes, for sure. I mean,
go
ahead.
As parents and just influencers in kids' lives, you think that you're doing a good job in like letting them celebrate their shades, whatever, like black is beautiful and all that. Because I'm really big on that. But then my niece, who she's 8 now, but when she was 6 or 7, I remember she was asking me like, "Why are you so much lighter than me?" And she's just a couple shades darker than me, you know. And I'm not, and I'm still dark skinned, you know. But to her, like she was just seeing that, and she, I guess, didn't like her dark skin, and that
and
really
they automatically equated to
it really
inferior.
hurt me to hear her say that. And then I wonder like, where is she getting it from? I know it's not us, but they get it from everywhere. So she'll definitely read your book.
Thank you.
TV,
because the media can really manipulate. Yes,
all these girls that come out, these celebrity singers and whatever, and they come out and they're like us. And they end up
all of a sudden,
like 10 shades lighter.
Right.
You know
what happened.
Right.
They are yellow.
And it's very subtle. You don't realize that, okay, when I look on TV and I see the lead in a movie, she's light skinned. And she has more like European features. She doesn't have hair like me or a complexion like
and
me.
She's the sex symbol. And
And I always notice that.
Right.
And the darker actresses are usually like either they play a slave,
angry, they're angry.
Exactly.
They're always in the troubled relationships.
Right, exactly.
It's so true.
And then we just so-called that in, you know?
Yeah.
Without even knowing it.
Exactly.
And then, I mean, could you imagine that it affects us as grown women? So imagine the little baby.
kids.
Imagine them, And then just growing up in that environment.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Have you guys ever had like an experience of colorism in your own lives?
I've had.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's deep. It's not a deep experience, but I just remember sitting on a train one time, and these guys were, it was like, I'm going to say maybe about 18, and they were just on a train having a conversation, and they go, like the darkest I would date is that girl. And
that girl being you.
And that girl was me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let me act like I'm reading my book still.
Right.
I think I would have lectured them like on the spot. Yeah. Come on.
How old are they?
They were about 18.
18?
And complexion?
Range. Dark skin and
I'm
light skin.
sure
There's about 4 of them.
Yeah.
Dark as well.
But you see how the men take it on and they judge us by our skin color. So that
do you
affects,
guys think that?
Do
you think that
I think
they
so.
make it harder for dark-skinned women to love and appreciate their skin?
Sometimes. I feel like a lot of the men that aren't secure with who they are and their shade in particular, they do, put us down in terms of our shade and judge us for our
So you're
skin
kind of
color.
saying you feel like darker skinned men wouldn't date darker skinned women?
I wouldn't speak for everybody.
Sometimes
Right.
it is, right.
I wouldn't speak for everybody because it's different. But I would say that what I see and what I experience is mostly like dark skinned men liking lighter skinned women.
Women.
And then when you think about like professional athletes and certain men that make a lot of money, when you see them, they're either with white women or with
really light skin.
Yeah, that whole like
long hair.
Right. I think you also see in educated men that maybe in high school they would date any sort of shade complected woman, and then when they go to college and they become successful in their careers, they tend to go for the trophy wife, and the trophy wife is never the dark girl.
What bugged me out, and now I guess I have a situation. When I was in college, a lot of the African, I used to hang with a lot of African guys, right? And a lot of them, they were always after the snow bunnies, so that's the light to white.
Yeah.
They were not checking no African women on campus, and they were beautiful African women on campus. They were not checking them at all. It was all about the snow bunnies, and those were the light. They're gonna hate me, but those were the light to white women.
Right, but you know,
and I'm like, y'all from the motherland. Get it together. Like, this is supposed to be you know.
Yeah. But I mean, this dates all the way back. Like, it's that's sort of like the framework that we're living in.
Back to slavery days.
Back to slavery, the house slaves.
Were the light ones.
The light-skinned slaves.
And those were one of the ones
but that was the strategy.
Of course.
To make us, battle against each other.
And it's still continuing.
Continuing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's difficult, I think, to get past that.
Right.
You know, and just even as a darker skinned person, just really embrace that and not, because I think sometimes, you straddle the line, we were talking about this before, where you celebrate it so much that you're kind of ostracizing lighter skinned women.
Yes, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, but because you weren't heard, you feel like you've been...
You need to overcompensate.
You want to overcompensate.
Yeah.
Exactly. We were talking about that.
And maybe that's where the angry black woman comes into play.
Could be. Maybe. I think it's a whole lot of...
But you know, like what we were saying earlier with the angry black woman being dark skinned in movies, Viola Davis was talking about years ago. I don't know how long ago this was, but she was saying that she had mentioned in an interview that she never got the roles of like the vixen, like that beautiful sexy woman, right? And she was always, in the kind of like downtrodden role. And so Shonda Rhimes said, "You're sexy to me, and I'm gonna give you a sexy role." And so that how to Get Away with Murder, it just celebrates her sexiness at her age and her complexion and even her natural hair.
Is it successful? Is it? I mean, I don't know the show. Is it a successful show?
Yeah, girl. It's a part of like hashtag TGIT.
Okay.
Thank God it's Thursday.
But what do you guys think now about the whole natural hair movement? Do you think that that's like us trying to speak out?
I think it could be, but I think it brings on more conflict also. I think it started to be uplifting and empowering, but what happened was, people, again, put us battling each other. So now some natural hair women look down upon women who perm or who have weave, when it's just,
when it's not
I just want to change it up. And it's not supposed to be about that.
It's supposed to be about healthy hair.
Exactly.
And if your hair is healthy, relaxed, or your hair is healthy, natural, then that's good. I'm only going to judge you if you have really unhealthy hair, natural or otherwise, and then you're not gonna do anything about it.
And throw a weave on there.
That's another story.
Right. Get into that.
Then I'm not gonna judge you, but I'll definitely look at you like you're crazy.
No, but I mean, we kind of have a complex, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that is
this hair stuff. But in terms of our experiences, I know growing up in Grenada that you always felt that the lighter skinned people or girls, guys, that they would get special treatment. I know I felt that way throughout high school, and a lot of people feel that way, and that being lighter skin is better. And what happens back home too, it's even more complex because people who are light skin tend to be the rich ones. So then, and I mean rich,
it's a real separation.
Right, and rich in general, no matter where society, it's gonna get you like higher preferences, you know? Right. So then it's all like conflated into this preference of lighter skin. And then as a darker skinned person, like growing up, and you feel like, oh, I'm smart, but I'm not getting, nobody wants me to be the prefect, or I'm smart, but nobody's really recognizing that and choosing me to represent the school or whatever it is. And then you look at who is representing, and then you start to feel like, oh, maybe if I was lighter, maybe if my nose was straighter, maybe if my hair was straighter, longer and thicker, and
But you know what, to like piggyback off of what you were saying, like when I was putting Chocolatey Brown together, I wanted to talk about different perspectives, because I'm coming from a darker skin. And you guys, are darker. But I spoke to some of my light-skinned friends and asked them about their experiences. And a lot of them told me that they did feel hated by the darker-skinned girls when they didn't, feel a way about it. They wanted to be friendly, but they were bullied and picked on, for being light-skinned with long hair.
Right. That.
Yeah. So that's definitely true.
So that, they have their perspective, too.
Right. Which is important because a lot of times when we feel like traditionally we're the ostracized group, then we feel as though we can speak and forget light-skinned people because they always get the special treatment.
They're fine. Don't worry about how they feel.
They get the preference, so they don't need the voice.
Right. So I need
my turn.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Yeah. And they're probably suffering just the same.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, we're all black.
I was going to say, because it's not about that. It's about, you know, exposure for everyone and touching on everyone, whether you're light-skinned, you're darker skinned, it doesn't matter. It's all inclusive.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's what's important.
Because they probably think that they're, I mean, going back to the natural hair thing, maybe whoever's not doing it probably think like, maybe I'm not black enough because I'm not, you know, transitioning to black power or, you know, this whole natural hair.
And then you have to look at what is light skin. Like, where is that line to say,
That's
okay, you're light.
You know, now they created
dark.
this brown, so it's either you're light,
like,
brown, or dark.
It's nonsense to me.
Right.
Because, you know, back in the day, it was the brown paper bag. Yeah. So you were lighter than a brown paper bag.
I don't know anybody that's the complexion of a brown paper bag. I just want to say that. Yeah.
And that's what they use.
Light-skinned women too. Light-skinned black women and men, I think sometimes they feel like they have to overcompensate and prove their blackness, you know, because I'm light skinned or you're light skinned or you have a straight nose, you're not black enough. You know, I'm Kizzi and I'm dark skinned and I have like nappy hair, so I get to say I'm black. I don't need to prove that. I represent blackness and they need to overcompensate. And a lot of times you see some of them study Africana studies and I think it's because they're trying to identify with their blackness and really defend their blackness in a way.
And that can be difficult. That's difficult too. That, you know, being on that side of it. And then you think also about biracial people. Like, you know, where do they fall in? And colorism.
Once you have a drop of black in you, you're black.
Because colorism is not just for African Americans. Hispanic people experience it. I remember
Italian,
Indians. Exactly. I remember being in Puerto Rico and you would see like the light-skinned people were more like the customer service and the people you interacted with, and the darker-skinned people were like janitors and things like that.
Back when my sister started working at the bank, which was maybe 10 plus years ago, she was one of the only dark-skinned tellers, and my sister's darker than me, so you kind of grew up seeing like the bank tellers were always like the lighter girls,
because they're the ones that's face to face.
That's changed a lot now, but I mean we still have issues like with bleaching.
Definitely.
So
true.
Big industry.
Colorism is a mental health issue, and like she said, with the bleaching of the skin, like something mentally where you're not satisfied with yourself. You know.
I went to the hair salon and my hairdresser was talking about bleaching. She was in Jamaica for a wedding and she said that she just saw so many bleached people she had to look it up. So she said they actually take the hair bleaching cream and put it on their skin and saran wrap it. I said, how you know that? She was like, I YouTubed it all day. YouTube.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. Yeah, I think to get to that extent, I think it is a problem.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have the soap, you have the cream, you have
injections,
pills. Yeah.
Like, I mean, speaking on Jamaica, you have their top reggae artist, Cartel. You see him.
So that's
so this is who they're looking up to.
Now.
Right.
He's really young.
That's one with a tattooed eyeball and stuff, right?
17 or something.
It's crazy. So yeah, that's who they're looking up to.
Right.
And then they're brainwashed from young.
Right, because that's what I was going to say. The issue isn't individual. It's just like that's the framework that we live in. Like that's our history. That's what's been perpetuated and was
taught to us. That's what's exactly still being pounded in us through media and society and everything.
And they know where they want to keep us.
Subtly,
so it's going to take a lot to change it.
That's why it's so important to teach our youngsters from early on and to Brango about these topics.
Right, definitely. And that's why I wrote the children's book, Chocolatey Brown, so the young kids could know their value from young, know their worth, and that they're beautiful for both boys and girls.
Yes,
no matter
can't forget the boys. That's true. And I will definitely be buying the book for my future babies.
Oh,